Tonight on Cardinal Sports Live, both the men and women's soccer teams are playing on the fresh new turf. But will that help how they play? We'll fill you in on their performance and their SUNYAC games.
We also caught up with some of the coaches and got to know some of the players a little better. And you will too. Don't go anywhere. Cardinal Sports Live starts right now. Welcome back to Cardinal Sports Live. I'm Joy Payne.
And I'm Jack Moore.
And speaking of new things, Jack, is that a new tie?
It is indeed a new tie. It's my new favorite shade of cardinal red.
Well, I like that. And speaking of more new things, we have the basketball and hockey season coming up right around the corner.
Yeah, it's really coming up soon. I got my hard hat ready to go. I'm ready to go chant my face off. It's going to be pretty good.
And that's great. But back to soccer now. About this new turf, how do you think it'll do?
Honestly, I think it's going to create a huge home field advantage for our team. The men's and women's soccer team, they tend to play a lot better on the turf fields than all the grass fields, and I think it's going to be good for them.
And speaking of that, the women's soccer team faced SUNY Cortland at home on the new turf Friday. It was a beautiful day in Plattsburgh. The sun was shining, and the Lady Cards managed to secure their second straight win. Now, neither team scored in the first half, but it was a pretty slow start. The Cardinals held a 14-8 shot advantage against the Red Dragons, but they did put up a fight. Now, seemingly, the Red Dragons should have scored because they had 4 corner kick opportunities in the first half. Luckily, their efforts were no match for senior Danielle Schmidt. Now, she made 2 very, very impressive saves in this game. Just moments after the top of the second half, though, Cassidy Clavitt got a hold of a loose ball and put the Cardinals on the map with the first goal. The Cardinals, after that, it was smooth sailing. The next goal would come moments later from freshman Lindsay Bushy, who has scored not only the second goal for the Cardinals in this game, but her 9th goal this season. And the last goal was scored by Devin McMahon right from outside the box. Now, that would end the game with a 3-0 victory for the Lady Cards. Now, quite a celebration for them, and I think great win, and the new turf is doing well.
The Lady Cards had no rest facing SUNY Oswego the following day. Moving on to one of the biggest rivalry games in the SUNYAC, the women's soccer team faced off in a home battle against Oswego last Saturday. With limited action happening in the first half, Oswego took a 1-0 lead in the 62nd minute with a score by Sarah Grupp on a perfect header. As the game progressed, it seemed as if all hope was lost for the Cardinals, down by 2 at the start of the 74th minute. But the Lady Cards still had some time left to make it all back up. Coming in now, we see Brooke Knight with a beautiful score off a scramble off of a free kick, making the score 2-1. Now, coming off the corner kick, we see Anissa Hartman go far down to tie it all up, this leading the game into overtime. Overtime consisted of numerous scoring chances for both sides, but both sides, they just came up empty-handed. By this point, the possibility of penalty kicks was becoming more of a reality than we thought. Starting at a 1-1 standoff, Plattsburgh's goalkeeper Danielle Schmidt purely dominated with her diving saves. The rain poured and the blood pressure increased, but Plattsburgh held on to win the penalty kicks, executing a perfect comeback against the Oswego Lakers. The final score of the penalty kicks was 3-2 Plattsburgh in a huge rivalry victory.
Unfortunately, for the Plattsburgh State women's soccer team, they did not enjoy the same victory against New Paltz as the men. The Lady Cards faced the Hawks in what would turn out to be a 2-0 shutout. Bryce Crystal would give the Hawks their first goal of the night in the first half. Though Plattsburgh's Cassidy Clavitt had a great opportunity to score in the 26th minute, her shot would tap the crossbar, missing the goal. The next goal would come from the Hawks when they gained a penalty kick and the victory.
The women's soccer team faced off against Oneonta, taking a heartbreaking last-minute loss to the Red Dragons. From the first minute, the Red Dragons came out swinging, holding off the Lady Cards scoreless for the majority of the match. Scoring early in the second half, Laura Ralston took the lead for Oneonta. Finally, in the 76th minute, Plattsburgh was able to equalize the match with a strike from Cammie Kaiser. What looked like that was going to lead it into overtime, it took a hard turn with a last-minute goal scored by the Red Dragons, leaving the Cardinals no more time to bounce back. This match left the Lady Cards at 6-5-1.
Two-time SUNYAC Defensive Player of the Week, Danielle Schmidt, had a chance to sit down with our Inside Cardinal soccer team to talk about the season so far and her personal success.
With plenty of wins under their belt already this season, the women's soccer team wouldn't be quite the same without their outstanding goalie. Plattsburgh State women's goalkeeper Danielle Schmidt is no stranger to the field. Having played for 15 years, this goalie knows what she's doing.
I started out in rec, and then I was chosen to be on a travel team, and then I slowly progressed into being a goalie, and I've been playing ever since.
Although Schmidt has played goalie for years, it wasn't necessarily by her own choice that she found herself playing a position she has grown to love so much.
I was kind of forced into it because I was slow, but I slowly progressed into it because I played basketball and softball. They're sports that require hand-eye coordination, and I just kind of fell into it, and it seemed to be the position for me, so I just kept with it.
Training as a goalie and maintaining skills make practices a little different for a keeper. While not only participating in team drills, Schmidt's training involves plenty of footwork and hand-eye coordination.
We do a lot of ladders, we do a lot of core because it's a lot of diving and getting back up very quickly. Where they're running around, I'm mostly just doing footwork, and hand-to-ball stuff.
To the average person, one might find being the last line of defense in a game very intimidating. But with years of practice and focus, Schmidt has found exactly how to be successful.
You just can't think about it. When you think about it too much, you get too wound up. Even with the PKs, I just didn't really think about it, and I think that's why I was so successful. I just did it and reacted, and the only thing you can do as a goalie is react.
Being a keeper means a mental game unlike any other person on the field. Schmidt seems to have a good understanding of what she needs to do to maintain her level of play.
I have to be always mentally prepared. It's so difficult to stay mentally in a game when you're up 2-0, or it's played mostly on their side of the field, and then they get a breakaway, and you have to be on your toes and you have to be in it 100%.
Against Oswego, Schmidt got to experience her highlight moment as a keeper. In an intense shootout between the teams, she used the best of her abilities to get the job done.
When I saved 3 PKs in a row, I've never done that in my life. Don't think I ever will. And it was probably one of the best feelings as a goalie. I can't describe it.
And it was a sad night for the Plattsburgh State men's soccer team as they faced off against Cortland in the second game of the SUNYACs. Both teams went almost the entire game without scoring until Cortland's Sean Streb smashed a goal with the 13 seconds remaining in the second period, taking the victory 1-0 against Plattsburgh. This was the Cardinals' second straight loss in the conference.
The men's soccer team traveled to Oswego last Saturday for a SUNYAC showdown and celebrated a 2-0 victory over the Lakers. With his 4th clean sheet of the season, Mitchell Jordan only had to stop a couple of shots from the opposition. Fabian Chaparro set things off early in the 27th minute with a nice chip right to the head of the Oswego goalkeeper, and it was a domination from then on. In the 72nd minute, the upcoming freshman John Quebeca scored his first goal for the Cardinals. This put the Cardinals at a winning record in their 3-game road trip.
But it was a different scene here in Plattsburgh when the men's soccer team played against SUNY New Paltz. Though in control for most of the game, the Cardinals were unable to score until the second half. In the 68th minute, junior Clay Sherman netted the Cardinals' first goal with a free kick taken 25 yards out. And their scoring did not stop there. Right as the game was coming to an end in the 84th minute, sophomore Alexis Archilla scored the second goal of the game, leading the Cardinals to a victory against New Paltz 2-0.
The men's soccer team took a tough shutout loss to Oneonta last weekend. With having a team high of only 3 shots, Fabian Chaparro was the biggest standout for the Cards. Throughout the first 70 minutes, the Red Dragons were on the offensive during the SUNYAC battle. With the last 20 minutes being scoreless, the table started to turn, but the Cards could not get past the senior goalkeeper, Vincent Pellegrino. This game put the Cardinals at a 2-3 record in the SUNYAC.
Now, we usually interview players about the games this season and so on, but this time our Inside Cardinal soccer team talked with some of the players on the men's team about some unusual stuff.
Final in the World Cup, probably.
When Pele won the World Cup.
World Cup final, hands down.
Who's your team?
Portugal, but they're never going to get to the final, so.
I mean, United States always.
There you go.
It'll be Jordan the flu game.
Okay.
Yeah.
It would definitely be that putt Tiger Woods had at the Masters where the ball sat right on the lip of the cup and then fell in. So it seems that our soccer teams are still doing pretty successful throughout the season.
And I think the new turf is helping. Now, it seems that the soccer teams are just killing it, literally killing it. Danielle Schmidt has 4 saves, 4 major saves in the game, and I think that's pretty big.
And she has over an 84% save percentage, which is out of this world, especially at the SUNYAC level.
And they're doing very well in the conference right now. They're 2-2-1, so that's pretty impressive, and I think the new turf will.
And how about that penalty shootout against Oswego?
Crazy, but as always, the men's soccer team is doing well. Mitchell Jordan, goaltender, season high of 6 saves against the game in Cortland, and I think it was great. You know, Sean Streb, this was his 2nd goal of the season, but, you know, they had 3 corner kicks, so it.
And you can never go wrong with Alexis Archilla out there on the field. He has over 9 goals on the season, and he is just racking up the points this season for the Cardinals.
He is killing it. And I also noticed that the Cardinals tend to score better in the second half, both men and women's teams.
Yeah,
So,
it must be a clutch gene that they got. I don't know. It's pretty
coming
crazy.
in good in the second team. Well, you know what? We can never go wrong with soccer, and I hope they use a new turf well.
When Cardinal Sports Live returns, we're going to show you how our volleyball team did in Brockport this weekend.
And you don't want to miss that. Sit tight. CSL will be right back.
PSTV to me means everything.
It means a lot to me.
Professionalism.
Being creative.
It means an opportunity to figure out where and what you want to do in life.
It's a lot of fun.
Having fun.
Opportunities.
Working with great people.
It's a place where I can meet people to help me get to where I want to get to in life.
Having a good time while creating good stuff. I love PSTV.
Here at PSTV, we're going through some changes. Now we're in HD, so no more grain. And no more letterbox. Hey, can we get some widescreen? Yeah. Nice. It's almost like we've stepped right into the future. Well, maybe not this far. That's more like it.
Born to lose, I've lived my life in vain. Every dream has only brought me pain.
Welcome back to Cardinal Sports Live. It is not looking good for the Plattsburgh State volleyball team as the Lady Cards matched up against Brockport in their 4th game of the SUNYACs. They were still not able to secure a win. Brockport had a 9-3 lead in the first set, and afterwards there was no stopping them. Although Emily Miller, Miranda Sheffer, and Melissa Wickers totaled 6 kills for Plattsburgh, and freshman Jordan Ailes had 14 digs, that still could not help the team, falling to the Golden Eagles 3-0.
The volleyball team also took a 3-set loss to Buff State last week. The Lady Cards have been having trouble finding victory in the SUNYAC this year, having a winless conference record of 0-6. Miranda Sheffer had a team high of 6 kills against the Bengals, but it just wasn't enough to put the Cardinals ahead in their match. There is still some time to build up that conference record with future matches against Potsdam, Oneonta, and Cortland.
Sadly, it did not end there for the volleyball team as they went up against the New Paltz Hawks. On October 11th, Miranda Sheffer had a team high of 6 kills, but it would be the Hawks who would impress. New Paltz player Becca Burkos had a team high of 8 kills, and fellow teammate Katie Braden had 7 terminations in the game. The Lady Cards could not complete, falling to the Hawks in 3 straight sets.
You know, the volleyball team, even though they haven't been doing well, they have some time to bounce back a little bit to get a few more wins. They're on their way to Clarkson It's for a 3-game invitational, no SUNYAC matches, so they might be able to work on some stuff before they finish their last 3 games.
And it's true, Megan Clifford had 21 assists in the game against Brockport, and it just seems that each individual player has what it takes. It's just bringing it together as a team.
Yeah, and Miranda Sheffer, all of her kills, they just keep coming, and it hasn't been enough for the team to win.
Now, I will say that New Paltz was a hard team to beat because they were the runner-up in last year's SUNYAC, so
Definitely.
that's a hard team to beat. But, you know, like you said, they do have enough time to come back, and we'll just see what happens.
Yeah, see how that goes. Coming up next, our men and women's cross-country teams traveled to Clinton, New York for the Hamilton College Invitational.
And both the men and women's teams dominated. We'll fill you in on just how well they actually did. Do not touch that remote. Cardinal Sports Live will be right back.
We at PSTV want our viewers to have long, fulfilling lives. So, here are some of the benefits of watching. You'll never feel sad again. It promotes muscle gain. There will be no consequences for your actions. You'll have so many friends. Fulfill your lives by watching PSTV on Campus Channel 10, Charter 17.
Welcome back to Cardinal Sports Live. The men's cross-country team had a successful race at the Hamilton College Invitational last weekend, placing 6 out of 17 teams. The team started out behind this season, but seems to be bouncing back at full speed this season. Freshman Nathan Doyle was at it again in his 4th top 10 finish of the season, leading the Cardinals, and the sophomore Ethan Vincent was also a major factor in Plattsburgh's success, finishing in the top 20. The Cards will travel to UAlbany for their invitational this Saturday.
Though the women's cross-country team did have a few weeks to relax, that did not change anything about their great performance in the Hamilton College Invitational. Senior Katie Eman finished in 5th place in the 5-kilometer race with a time of 17:58. And not too far behind was freshman Haley Mooney, who finished in 9th place with a time of 18:12. The Cardinals overall finished in 3rd place out of 16 teams.
Now, our Inside Cardinal cross-country team had a chance to speak to the coaches after the invitational this past weekend.
I think we're having a strong showing. I think we're going to surprise some people.
Really looking to see if we can crack into that top 5.
You know, I think we're going to have a lot of PRs and a lot of people are going to have some strong races.
As we get closer, we start to taper off. We increase the intensity and then take down the volume. So we really start to taper so we can have our best and fastest times at the end of the season.
This year with our courses, a lot of our workouts have been tailored for how the races have been, a lot of the places we've raced before.
Eating right, sleeping, getting that rest and recovery.
A big part is just for a lot of people, this will be their first time racing at the collegiate level in terms of championship season. So a lot of it's just preparing them what to expect.
And it's very competitive this year. The SUNYAC is getting deeper and deeper.
So whether it's old turf, new turf, home turf, away turf, it seems like both the men and women's cross-country teams seem to dominate no matter where they go.
Yeah, they started out pretty slow this season, but they're on a slow build-up. I mean, I remember early in the season, they came in like 14th at the start. Now they're coming in 6 out of 17. It's pretty incredible.
It's pretty impressive, and Katie Eman, she's a senior this year, but throughout her entire collegiate career, she has been placing within the top 20, and now she's moved up to the top 10, and now she's finishing in 5th place, and then the team overall finishing in 3rd place. That's just icing on the cake.
Yeah, it's pretty great. And then on the men's team, we have Nathan Doyle, who's a freshman, and he's been. I remember, I think it was 2 weeks ago, he got freshman of the week for the SUNYAC, and he's been coming in top 10 for the past 4 races. And Ethan Vincent's only a sophomore, and he's also been coming in the top 20 every race. So it's looking good for the future,
It is looking good. And don't forget Haley Mooney for the women. She has been dominating. She's moved on from 20 minutes now up to 18, and it just seems like an onward trend with her. So luckily she's a freshman because we'll get to keep her around for a while, and hopefully we'll come in 3rd place again.
Yeah, hopefully.
Coming up on Cardinal Sports Live, 2 members of the women's basketball team had the spotlight on them. But what 2 players exactly? You'll find out soon.
We also had a chance to talk to one of the key players on the women's hockey team. Stay tuned to find out who it is. CSO will be right back.
This week on Paranormal Plattsburgh.
I'm so scared. Come out. I know you out there.
So this ghost, apparently he used to be in PSTV.
Word. Come out, wherever you are. You're not the only one out there.
Oh my god, something just touched my hair.
Oh, word?
Alright, so how many people do we have to try out for the station?
Just 2.
Okay, alright, well, as long as it's not Rashid.
Why? He's so funny.
No, he's not funny. I can't stand to work with him, and he wears sunglasses inside.
Just as long as it's not that Mike kid. He's always following me around.
Hey!
In the lead!
No,
Hey,
Zach! Hey! Wait! Hey.
Welcome back to Cardinal Sports Live. Now, Devona Paul seems to be everywhere lately here on Cardinal Sports Live.
But this time, she was joined by teammate Misha Green to show off their success of last season and to give you an idea of what to expect for this upcoming season. So, it seems like their first game is November 15th.
I can't wait to go. It's going to be fantastic, especially the way they came off last season with a SUNYAC win.
That's going to be tough to beat, but when you think about it, they still have players like Devona Paul and Misha Green who average between 6 to 12 points a game, and that's big.
That wins games. Like, that's all you really need.
It does win games, and I'm hoping that we can secure another victory and bring home the championship yet again.
I think we can make it 2 in a row.
2 in a row, you think so?
Definitely.
Maybe if we get them a new court.
Yeah, right. We got new turf, new court.
New court, but they seem to be doing fine without it.
Let's
so
keep it going.
I think we're doing good.
Now, Joy, this is Cardinal country, so we can't forget about our women's hockey team.
No, of course not, Jack. Our Inside Cardinal hockey team sat down with Mia Farvetto to see how preseason is going and what her big plans are, now being a senior on the team.
Mike Warren here at the Ronald B. Stafford Ice Arena alongside women's hockey defenseman Mia Favretto. Now, Mia, you guys are in uncharted territory this season as you guys won the national title last year. What's it like preparing for something when you've never been here in this position before?
We definitely are working hard so far this season. We have a lot of new girls, so really trying to develop some chemistry and work away everything and get everything organized for this season.
Now, you mentioned some new players. Of course, your open skate sessions have just gotten started as we prepare for this season. How are the new recruits doing so far?
The freshmen are looking really good, and I think as a team we're developing our chemistry, we're getting teamwork and team building together so that we're ready for our regular season to start.
Now, last season you were a big part of the national championship run as well. What's it like just coming off of the national championship in the offseason?
It makes you want to work that much harder to defend that title, and I think throughout the summer and preseason we're really working hard so that we can reach that title again for this year.
Now you guys are already a couple of weeks away from the opener in Norwich this year. Are you guys ready to go?
We are more than ready. We're ready. We want to get on the ice in real games and really get the season started.
Now, obviously, your top goal is going to be repeat as a national champion. Is there any other goals as a team you guys are trying to accomplish this season?
Well, I think since we have a lot of new players and we lost a lot of players from last year, I think we really want to develop our team and make sure we're coming into everything together as a unit, making sure we're all on the same page when we start.
We thank Mia Favretto for joining here at the Ronald B. Stafford Ice Arena with women's hockey defenseman Alyssa Park. Now, Alyssa, you're coming off of a national championship run. What's the difference preparing for this season than in those in years past?
I don't think there really is a difference. We're just trying to go into it like any other season. We're skating hard. We're lifting every day. We have 6:30 a.m. workouts, so we're going into it like any other season, trying to prepare the same way.
Now, you guys have started your open skate sessions going into this season. How's everything come together so far?
I think everybody's working hard. The freshmen are having a good time. Everyone's enjoying it.
Now, of course, you were a big part of the national championship run from a year ago. What was it like in the offseason just saying, hey, I'm a national champion?
It was pretty cool to win, obviously. It's definitely something we want to do again, and it's probably the best feeling I've ever had.
Now, you guys come into this season, of course, looking to repeat. Are there any other goals as a team you guys are trying to accomplish?
Well, first, win our first game and take it from there, just game by game, and see what happens.
We thank Alyssa Park for joining us. This is Mike Warren here at the Ronald B. Stafford Ice Arena.
Now, Joy, I cannot wait for hockey season.
I can't either. You know, the women only lost one game last year, and they brought home the championship.
Which is pretty incredible. And the men's team were one game away from winning the SUNYAC. And I'm still a little bitter about it, but we can talk about that later.
Do you think? But I think they'll be fine. I think this year they know what to do, and they're looking for redemption.
Oh, they are hungry this season, and I got my hard hat. I'm ready to go. Be obnoxious in that crowd. It's gonna be so much fun.
We'll see you at the games. Everyone look out for Jack at the games.
Well, that's all the time we have for tonight. Thank you for tuning in to another wonderful episode of Cardinal Sports Live. My name is Jack Moore.
And I'm Joy Payne. Have a good night.